Americans are leaving this country in record numbers. And I'm not talking about vacation. I'm talking packing their bags, booking their flights, and leaving for good. In the first few months of 2025 alone, the amount of people that just said, I'm done, and moved abroad doubled from the year before. That's not just a blip, okay? That's a wave. So why? Same reasons you and I complain about every day. Cost of living going through the roof, political chaos that never seems to end, and the fear of safety even when you're just going to the grocery store. But here's the thing, it's not just dreamers or millionaires doing it. It's normal people. It's people with families, it's young people, old people, retirees, people who are working remote. One common thread holding all of these people together is they just want a dignified life. That's why you're seeing places like Greece, Spain, France, Portugal. Their cafes are filling up with Americans who are just done. People love to scream, if you don't like it, leave. Well, we are, thousands and thousands of us. We will be joining that wave soon. If you're curious about moving abroad, stick around, because we're about to embark on this journey ourselves, and we can't wait. At the end of the day, people like us just want to make life work. And if we think that we can do that better outside of this country, then who's to say we can't?
With the cost of living continuing to go up, as well as the social division reaching an all-time high, and just the, broad environment of America, Americans are starting to ask, is there a better life abroad? And the truth is, there is. Record numbers of Americans are leaving. Record numbers of Americans plan and want to leave. I'm included in those numbers. I'm leaving in May/June. When I made that video where I'm leaving America in 5 months, I wasn't lying. I'm leaving in May/June. So millions of Americans are leaving because we know there's a better life abroad. And there's plenty of people that agree with me.
Once you leave America, you ain't never going back. Honestly, I left like almost 2-3 years ago, and ever since I left America, I've been nothing but happy, nothing but blessed, nothing but grateful. But when I was living in America, I was nothing but depressed. I was miserable. I was living in that paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. Just know, the minute you leave America, your happiness, your depression, all that gets a lot better. When you're in America, bro, that shit is miserable.
There is no point in living in the US anymore. Everything is being inflated to the roof, and only a handful of Gen Zers are going to be able to purchase a home. The job market is scary, graduates aren't getting hired, and an alarming amount of people are being laid off from their jobs. Almost all the food in our grocery stores are literal poison, and they are not fit for human consumption. And new gens will work their entire lives and save for absolutely nothing, because we are living paycheck to paycheck. The American dream now is to just leave.
I live and work in Spain, making roughly 1,000 euros a month, which in America is nothing, but in Spain is more than enough to live. I only work 16 hours a week, and I'm able to afford a super nice apartment in the city center of Madrid. Food costs me 20 euros a week. My electric bill is like 30 euros a month. I don't have to worry about gas or a car payment or insurance because the public transportation system is so world class that you don't even need a car at all. Madrid is like the New York of Spain, except if you were living in the city center of New York, you'd have to be making literally at least $5,000 a month, and that's extremely lowballing it. Just their way of life in general, is so much more relaxed and just taking time to enjoy life rather than just working constantly. They literally have a siesta in the middle of the day where they take 3 hours to go nap or go to a coffee shop to hang out with friends. The American mind cannot fathom. It's just crazy to me because, you've been told growing up your whole life that America's the best country in the world. That's just so far from the truth. And it's, very obvious how much worse it is now that I've gotten out.
I'm this close to spending that last $400 on a one-way ticket.
Yes. Book a one-way ticket out of the US if you are trying to save money. I think all of us can agree that it has become ridiculously expensive to live in the US. Many of us are living paycheck to paycheck and just continuing to accrue debt. And honestly, the only way that I saw out was to sell my house and to move to Bali. And if you don't have a house to sell, that's okay. Take what money that you have in savings and book a one-way ticket to an affordable country like Indonesia, Thailand, Ecuador, Colombia, Vietnam, Cambodia. The cost of living in these countries is less than $1,000. You can probably get it to $200 to $300 for a month. You can stay in hostels. You can house sit for people and have your accommodation completely calm. You can pet sit as well. But slaving in America is not it anymore. We are not the land of the free. We are the land of the slaves. We are common day slaves. All we do is work, eat, sleep, repeat. So if you're sick of struggling and living paycheck to paycheck, the only way that I see out is to leave the US indefinitely. And take it from somebody who has already done so last year. Life is so much better abroad.
And there's a common misconception that you need to have hundreds of thousands in a bank in order to leave. And that's just not the case. There's plenty of ways to make an income, whether that be teaching English, starting an online business. It doesn't matter what it is. Especially if you're American, there's easy ways to get into English teaching. You don't need much money saved up. You don't need to have $50,000 saved up. You don't have to sell your house. You don't have to sell your car. You don't have to do all that. If your stuff's paid off, there's no need to sell it. You can keep it. If you have a house, you can rent it out while you're gone. If you have a car, just find somewhere to store it. And then see how you like it abroad. And once you're abroad for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and you realize you like it, and this is something you want to do long term, then you can say, you know what? I'm going to sell my car back home. I'm going to sell my house back home. It's really all about strategic planning, sticking to the plan, being willing to go through ups and downs, do your own research, and work hard.
America doesn't want you to know how many people are leaving. US citizens are relocating abroad in record numbers, but the United States does not release any information or any data so that you can track it. But the numbers do exist. When you move abroad, you register with your local consulate and you register for something called STEP. STEP is the US Citizen Location Registry around the world. For instance, in Costa Rica, where I am, STEP is a necessary requirement in order for you to apply for legal residency here. So the host country knows that you're there, US knows that you live abroad, but there's no way for the public to ever see these numbers. So we have to learn about American immigration from other countries. Ireland, for example, reported that almost 32,000 applications for Irish citizenship were filed by US citizens in 2024. The UK saw over 6,500 Americans apply for British citizenship, the highest that's ever been recorded. But the US won't publish any of this because acknowledging immigration means that we have to acknowledge the reason that people are leaving: unaffordable living, instability, burnout, and an economy that just doesn't work for many people anymore. Talking about immigration is political theater. Talking about emigration would expose a national crisis. And that's why they're keeping it quiet.
The new American dream is to leave. And I'm not just talking about living abroad and earning American dollars and taking advantage of the exchange rates. I'm just talking about living a life of dignity at this point. I mean, where else in the world is anyone paying this much for healthcare? Where else in the world is anyone eating wheat that they can't digest and it's wrecking their gut? Where else in the world do you live to work, not just work to live? Look, moving abroad isn't for everybody. I'm not forcing my ideas on anybody. But if you're someone like me who thinks that, you know what, I'd like to try living somewhere else, well, then yeah. Then you might like my content. And look, a lot of people in my comments come at me and they're like, well, just leave, or why do you hate America? I've never once bashed America, okay? I just ask questions and I say, hey, I've been somewhere else in the world where they do it this way. That might be a little bit better than the way we do it here. And if asking questions is wrong, well, I guess I am living in the wrong country. Nowhere is a utopia, and life can be a struggle everywhere. But it's at least worth trying and giving it a shot than just staying in the same place your entire life and never knowing.
My husband and I finally made the difficult decision to leave the United States. It was not an easy decision, and it came from a lot of conversations. But we finally realized we're fighting to stay somewhere that not only is he unwanted, but we're fighting to stay in a place that's just falling apart more and more each day and becoming an unrecognizable place. My husband came here to study English and to be part of everything the United States had to offer, which was a better life, the irony. Let me tell you a few things that I'm also forfeiting as a US citizen that our country fights so hard to protect their interest. I am now forced to go live in another country just to preserve my marriage. This comes with leaving my family behind, leaving my law license behind that took me years and years to get. I'm not licensed, obviously, in another country, so I have to find an entirely new profession and start over entirely. Being a disabled veteran, someone who broke their back and both of their hips in the military, I am now forced to forfeit my personalized care plan that I have worked the last decade to develop with my physicians. I have medications that I take on a daily basis, and the VA does not ship them out of the country. This also just means that our kids will not really have a relationship with my family. How did we get to a place where like the destruction, the waterfall of destruction is just so normalized? I can't stress enough how much I'm not trying to make this about me as much as I'm trying to shed light for those who truly don't get it yet. You should care that your fellow citizens are now being forced to leave the country to stay married. That's where we've gotten, and if that's okay with you, what the hell? To stand 10 toes down behind this administration and to support them at the expense of your fellow citizens should cause alarm bells. You should not be able to rationalize that. This is not as simple as some people are making it out to be. You know, this will easily become a channel of watching us start over from scratch. I've got to find a new job in a country where I need to learn how to speak the fluent language and uproot everything I know. Just because I fell in love with an immigrant. Stay tuned for our journey and watch me pack up my entire house alone because I'm also robbed of any help in this process because my husband will be in ICE detention until the time that they drive him from the facility to the airport. Is America great? I have yet to see it.
People keep saying that the new American dream is to leave America. And coming from somebody who's had the American dream, you know, the house, the pool, the land, the marriage, I feel like they may be right. When you have all of that and you realize that that doesn't make you happy, then you start really thinking about like, okay, what can I do to make me happy? And for me, happiness was time and freedom. Ultimate currency is time. Having the time to actually live this one life that you get on this earth. I would have to agree. The new American dream for some people is to leave America and not live a life that is a part of the rat race of America to get an American dream that is basically unattainable. We moved out of our house and we're renting it out and we're actively trying to leave the country so that we can experience life where you have time to do things that you want to do in life.
This is going to put some Karen's panties in a knots, but I'm going to have to say it. I don't think most Americans want to leave America and buy land in a different country. I think most Americans would prefer to stay where they are born and their ancestors immigrated to. However, most Americans don't have the privilege to buy land in America, so we are being forced to leave in order to have our basic needs met. You look at the little like Maslow hierarchy. If you don't got money and if you don't got certain privileges, you're fucked. You can't go out and pick some mangoes off a mango tree or have some platanos in your backyard. They have built the system where we have to rely on certain things in order to survive. I don't think most Americans want to go to a different country and build a life away from everything they know. But we are being forced to go to a different country in order to have our basic needs met and to feel comfortable and safe where we are living. I don't know. Just through food for thought. We could dive into the whole consequences of that, of gentrification and exploitation and using people and stealing land, but I don't think necessarily people want to leave a home where they feel comfortable and everything's convenient. But we're being forced to. Because we realize that there's things that are better than actually here.
It does not cost a lot of money to leave the United States. I've already left the United States once and I will be leaving again in less than a week. And it does not cost a lot of money. So let's get into the breakdown of what it has cost in order for me to leave, as well as my cost of living while living in Bali. So my visa for 2 years is $500. Everybody's visa is going to be different. There are different visas that you can get. The one that I happen to get happens to be $500 for 2 years. Second, I fly for free. You can go see the pinned video on my page. I fly everywhere for free. I never ever pay for flights. Next, my apartment in Bali is $650. That includes water, utilities, gas, everything like that. It also includes breakfast and daily maid service as well. My car over there, or my scooter, cost about $70, $75 a month. My total cost of living, including eating out, yoga, everything like that, is around $2,000 per month while living in Bali. Whereas living in the US, my cost of living exceeds somewhere around like $6,000 to $8,000 per month. And if you're like, Andrea, I don't know what to do, I've already looked for remote jobs. There are teaching jobs. There are ways that you can translate English. There's so many opportunities out there, you guys. Please do not limit yourself and say that there's poor people can't leave the United States, or that you don't have enough money to leave the United States. Like, do not limit yourself. Do not say those things. Do not believe those things. Believe that whatever you put your mind to, you can do.
So if you have had that idea about leaving the US, leaving America, it's not just you. Plenty of people are feeling the division, the economic pressure, the social pressure, political pressure, violence, all of it. All the issues we have. And it's not necessarily saying you can go escape all those issues, but it's choosing what pros and cons you'd rather have. Because every country has pros and cons, and you get to choose what pros and cons you want to deal with. Me, I chose the cons and pros of Vietnam over the cons and pros of America, because the cost of living is way affordable. It fits my lifestyle. I know about the food, and it's in Southeast Asia. So like, you can travel everywhere. You can have a home base in one country and travel everywhere. In America, traveling to Europe or Asia is going to cost you $1,500 for a two-way trip. Then you have to spend, money in the hotels and all of that. But the tickets, $1,500 for tickets, right? If you're already in Europe, already in Asia, traveling to another European, another Asian country, $60 for a ticket, $100 two-way. It's is that affordable? I mean, you can hop on a train and go from country to country. You don't even have to get on a plane. A train will take you, a bus will take you for $20, $30. It's so much affordable. You can live a way better life, and that's why millions of Americans are planning to leave. Now, if this does agree with you and you are devastated by the economic and social pressures that America has going on, I do cover a little bit of everything on this channel, so go ahead and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section, do you plan to leave soon? And if you do, when and where do you plan to go? But with that being said, remember, no matter what happens, as long as you're alive, life goes on.